guys, it's me. We are making a cake, a chocolate cake with marshmallows and cake stuff. It's for Mother's Day, so yeah, it's going to be showing you how to make a cake. Right, so what you're going to need is caster sugar. You're going to need about 4 ounces, 110 grams caster sugar. You're going to need 4 ounces or 110 grams of self-raising flour, 4 ounces or 110 grams of margarine or butter at room temperature, this has to be, 2 large eggs, a teaspoon of baking powder, and some cocoa powder if you want to make it chocolate. And yeah, so that's stuff. If we want, I'll show you. And for icing, you're going to want icing sugar and a bit of water, which you probably have. Because we're doing marshmallows, I would suggest dicing marshmallows into quarters, like this. I'm trying to do it so it doesn't fall off the plate. Use about 10 marshmallows, cut them up into quarters, and then yeah, you're also okay. So to start, preheat your fan oven to 170 degrees centigrade, or as it says, 325 degrees Fahrenheit, or gas mark 3. So yeah, so you do that basically, and then you grease with margarine and put greaseproof paper into a cake tin. Always important to have a cake tin that has a removable base to make it easier for you to get out. Okay, next bit. Okay, so you've greased your tin and you are ready to begin. That may have accidentally. Okay, so here is a bowl, a big mixing bowl. There. Basically, what you want to do is you want to, as it says in the book, take a large roomy mixing bowl. It's pretty large and roomy. And you have to sift flour and baking powder into it. So I will show you how to do that, in case you don't know how. You need a sieve, which I don't actually know where the sieve is, so I'll be right back.
With her one eye on the pot and the t'other up the chimney with a rah rah rah, la 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 la.
Okay, so you have your sieve. This is a sieve. Very small holes, just in case you don't know what a sieve is. What you're going to do is you want to sift the. Okay, that doesn't actually fit on there, so I'm going to put it in the bowl. You're gonna want to sift the flour and the baking powder. So here's the flour, self-raising flour. And what?
You shall have a fishy on a little dishy. You shall have a fishy when the boat comes in.
Okay, well.
Dance to your daddy, my little laddie. Dance to your daddy, my little.
Okay, right, now back to the cake. Okay, right, so, self-raising flour, you got it? This is a set of scales. You want to have 110 grams of self-raising flour. So, each tick is, I think, 50. So there's 100. There's 110. That's actually a bit much, but we can live. Right, we have this bowl, 100 grams of self-raising flour, and now back to the roomy bowl here. You take the sieve, place it high above to air the flour, and then slowly. This is the thing with having a very small sieve, so that isn't very.
Big one.
Can you give it to me? I'm going to try and
no, it's not.
No, it's not there. Okay.
Where?
Well, I'm going to slowly try tipping the flour into the sieve. It's not going to go too well, but at least most of it will get out. This does make quite a lot of powder come up, so may I suggest that you move most stuff out of the way. Right, nearly done. Okay, that's all the flour. in the bowl. Now what we need is the baking powder. Baking powder. You need 1 teaspoon of baking powder. This is a teaspoon that I just dropped. This is a rather ornate teaspoon. Doesn't need to be that ornate. As long as it's a teaspoon, that will do. You put the teaspoon into the baking powder, scoop up, not that heaped, so something like that. So you can see, kind of not that heaped, but yeah. You put that in. Okay. Baking powder, done. Okay, right, we've done the baking powder and the flour. It looks like that.
Where's the sugar?
What you're supposed to do next is just basically mix everything else in. 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder to make a chocolate cake, or 1 to 2 drops of vanilla essence if you just want to make a normal Victoria sponge.
Or both, if you like.
Well, I wouldn't do both. It doesn't really turn out too well. No. Okay, this is actually a soup spoon. Can you not do that? This is a soup spoon, but it'll do. It'll do. So you take one soup spoon or tablespoon, more preferably, of cocoa powder. That much. Put that in. It looks like something has kind of exploded in there. Like that. Okay, so you put that in, everything. You then add everything else basically. So you've got the caster sugar. Once again, I'm going to do on the scale 110 grams. 110 grams of sugar. Put it straight in. No need to sieve. Butter or margarine, your choice. You basically, to put this onto the scales, you cut it up basically. I don't think this is 100 grams in this. I may need to quickly get some more, but we'll see.
Do you need more marshmallows?
Try and get that. Okay, that's about 150 grams. It's easier if you chop up the butter before putting it into the bowl. It will mix a lot easier. So basically, I would advise doing that. Try it, like just slice it, just cut it a bit. You don't have to completely dice it, but as long as it's in smaller bits than a massive cube of butter, then it should be fine. This is the 110 grams of butter we're using. Just put that into the bowl. Make sure all of it goes in. No, not yet. I haven't done that yet. Okay, butter. In bowl. No, don't worry. Then the 2 eggs, which are here. Okay, once again, marshmallows. I need those. It's quite good fun to make marshmallows in a cake because it is really good. Right. Here is an egg. We need 2 of these. Tap it on the side of the bowl. And then open it. Okay, there is 1 egg in. Second egg. Pull apart. I'm not very good at opening eggs, but it doesn't matter if the yolk bursts, it's all good. There we are, egg in there. Now, what you need to do as quickly as possible after putting the egg in is start whisking. Use an electric whisk, and you whisk it until it gets thick. So,
stiff.
Here is my whisk. It works. So, start whisking at a low speed first, so that most of the flour stays in there.
Oh no, it's gone all over the wall.
I'm going to speed this up a bit now, full, so that we start mixing it. Slowly mixing. Okay, now that we have whisked it quite a bit,
Money tonight.
you need to basically get a wooden spoon and get like a spoon of it and tap it on the side. If it falls off easily, that's good. That's good. If it falls off easily, that's good. If it doesn't fall off, add a couple of tablespoons of warm water and then whisk it a bit more. But I'm just going to whisk a bit more to make sure.
I hope that doesn't splash on the computer.
No, it won't splash on the computer. Okay, so done whisking. Okay. We will now get a palette knife or something similar. A normal knife will do just fine. And what you want to do is you want to scrape off the stuff of the whisk. Okay, here is my whisk. Pressing the eject button. Whisk bit to come out. And then you're going to want to basically get as much of this stuff on the whisk off of the main board so that none of it is wasted. Because you know, you don't want to waste cake. But yeah, so...
Is that enough marshmallows?
Can you do a bit more?
You want nuts?
No, not really.
Boys, it's bedtime. Come on, look.
Well then be quiet and stop making stupid noises. Oh really? You're just going to ruin
We're
my
not
day.
putting this spot.
No, let me cut this out.
Should I do the whole pack?
Shouldn't need to.
Are you putting them in a mixture or are you putting them on the top?
I'm putting in the mixture.
Are you doing the icing after?
I'm kind of hoping they won't like burn in the oven, but
They will.
okay, now that we have whisked all of the chocolate possible, and it is in this bowl, looks quite nice, I'm going to put marshmallows in mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just tip them in quite slowly. I'm not going to use all of them. And then I am going to incorporate them into the main mixture so that it cooks very, very well. Quickly mix this in. So we've got lots of bits of marshmallow. Now I have never put marshmallows in a cake in the oven before, so here hopes that it doesn't set fire to my house. But you know, kind of, yeah. Just get all of the chocolate you can off the spoon. There we are. Okay, right. So now that's all mixed in, you can now get your cake tin, and which is here, and you're going to want to basically spoon out the mixture into the cake tin. Now what you don't want to do is spread it. You're going to want to leave it to try and spread itself, otherwise you will basically remove all of the bubbles in it, which will not be good because that will mean it won't rise. So unless you want like a fat cake, then don't mix it that much around whilst it's in the tin. You want to keep as many bubbles as possible. So I'm just going to spoon it all out, put it in here. And if you do spread, only do it like along the top. So I'll show you what I mean. So just got to get a bit more chocolate out of there. There we are. I think there's one more spoon in there. Okay, there we are. Right, now that it has all been put into the tin, you can now basically just smooth it down around the top and the sides. Because I have made a lot of cake mixture, because this is actually supposed to be made for 2 cake tins, and I couldn't find one of them. But I'm going to try and smooth it down as much as possible so that a bit of air gets out, so it won't rise all the way and overflow. But there we are. Now it is in the cake tin. Now you're going to want to put that cake tin into this oven that you've preheated. And you're going to want to cook it for about 30 minutes on this temperature, which was 170 degrees C. I said it all at the beginning, so if you want you can go back to that and just check. I've now put the cake into the oven over here, and then you close the oven and you wait for 30 minutes. Okay, it has now been half an hour since we started baking. And yeah, so we're going to take it out of the oven. It's been a bit more than half an hour because we did try taking it out about 5 minutes ago and it wasn't fully cooked. So yeah, you have to have, we're now going to take it out of the oven. We're just going to slide that out, pick it up and go and put it on a cooling tray. Now, a cooling tray looks like that, and the cake tin is now on said cooling tray. What we're going to want to do is make sure that the cake is fully cooked by putting a knife into the middle. If anything comes out on the knife, it means that it's not cooked yet, basically. So here's a knife, put it into the cake. One sec, I probably should have used a clean knife, that would have been more intelligent. Get a clean knife. There we are. Clean knife. It's mostly clean. I mean, this is quite a quick cake, so this is good enough. Yeah, well, I think that'll do. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to want to leave it in the tin until it has cooled down. Then you use the knife to go around the edge of the tin. Actually, I'm going to go and put the computer down. There. Okay. Right. We're going to go round the edge of the cake to separate it in case any of it has accidentally got stuck to something. Go around the edge and it's all separated. Now, what we can do, we can get our oven gloves, which are here, very nice oven gloves, and you're going to want to basically turn the cake upside down and bring it out and put the cake in a sink or wherever you want. And the cake is still quite hot, so don't try doing anything stupid that will endanger your life. Right, I would not advise taking off the baking paper yet because it is still quite hot. So we're going to leave that to cool down. We're going to remove the baking paper and we'll be done. And then I'll show you how to make the icing. Okay, the cake is now done. It's cooled very nicely. We've taken off the baking paper, and what we're going to do now is make the icing. Now what you're going to want is icing sugar, very useful, and you're going to want 225 grams of it, which I've measured out on the on the weighing thing. Right, so what you're going to want is a bowl. I'm going to use this bowl here, not that big, but it's a bowl. I'm going to put the icing sugar, 225 milliliters, or not, sorry, grams, into the bowl, and then it's very easy to make icing sugar. You're going to want to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. So this is a tablespoon. That's somewhere around 2 tablespoons. I'll add there. That's about 2.5 tablespoons there. Now you need something to mix it with. I'm just going to use this teaspoon from earlier. Just mix this in. You just mix it, and then eventually it'll become glacé icing. See, it's getting quite nice here. Try and incorporate all of the sugar so that none is wasted. If it gets a bit too watery, then add a bit of sugar, which is what I'm going to do. And if it gets a bit, if not all of the sugar is used up, then add a bit more water, basically. I'm just gonna stir in this. Hopefully this will be enough. Just quickly try and scrape in everything off the side so none of it is wasted. This is still actually a bit liquidy. I think I'm gonna need a bit more, and then that should be enough. Okay, that should be enough, and we are going to make our icing with red food colouring. To do red food colouring, what I would suggest is that take the lid off and basically fill the lid up with colouring, then add it, because it's very, very strong and it will stain everything, even skin and marble as well, so you don't want to get that mixed up with anything. So yeah, here we are, mixing in red food colouring to make it nice and red, and there, that is nearly done. I might add a bit more sugar, because otherwise this is not going to be hard enough or easy enough to spread. Nearly done. It's always best to start off with like not that much of the sugar and the water, in case you add too little. In case you need to add more, don't ever put too much in just because you can't take any out after it's been mixed. Right, now that should be good enough. Right, so now what you can do is you can simply add it to the cake. So yeah, just check. Tastes good. Yeah, okay. So, first try and get all of the bits of icing sugar out, because it is quite lumpy and you don't want lumps really. Just quickly get that out. There we go. Okay, nearly done. And there we are. Okay. Now, it's easiest, really, to use a kind of like a soup spoon again, because then you can spread it quite well. I'm going to put this in the sink. Remember, you have to wash up everything, otherwise it just, clutters everything up. But yeah, that's fine now. I'm going to quickly add it before it dries. Actually, I'm just going to pour it from the bowl. Okay. Right, so this is actually starting to look quite nice now. Just try and get as much of that out as possible. It's okay if it doesn't cover the whole thing. You might want to make some more. You can layer it, it just doesn't look as nice. But yeah, there we are. That is how you make a chocolate and marshmallow cake with red icing.